So today I want to talk about how to connect with somebody at maybe a party, at a gym, maybe at a wedding. And this question came to me from Christian on our team. And Christian is a young guy, 23 years old, just started real estate after college. He does open houses 5 days a week, very successful. However, he also works out 5 days a week at the gym. If you look at him, you can tell he's really fit. And he said, a lot of times I have people come up to me and talk, but I never know how to transition this into real estate. And I think a lot of agents have this question. How do we transition kind of a casual conversation into real estate? I've always said that real estate is not just, what I do, it's who I am. And therefore it's important that we do that. Every year I pick another client or 2 or 3 clients just through, my daily life of doing really no prospecting or lead generation, just through the contacts I have through other people that I meet for a first time. And so let's talk a little bit about that. And so what I did with Christian, I said, give me your kind of typical setup. He says, well, I'm working out. Somebody comes over and just starts talking casually. And I said, okay, here's the way you want to do it. The first thing you want to do is just let the conversation kind of go organically. Just kind of talk about whatever you talk about, and don't think about trying to insert your realtor anywhere early in the conversation. Just talk. In fact, sometimes if it's a gym and you see somebody often there, maybe it's not even the first conversation. But if it's the wedding or party, that might be your only chance. So you want to be a little bit more timely on that. So here's how you do it. You're talking about something, and then all of a sudden there's a little bit of a pause, and you say, by the way, what do you do for a living? You ask them what they do for a living. Then what you do is you let them tell you about that. You certainly want to be interested, and you should be. After all, they're going to be your potential client. And then not only that, you're going to ask them a few questions so you get the conversation going a little bit. So what you're doing is, first of all, you're learning about them, but you're also doing something really important, and that's called setting the stage. You're setting the stage for them to ask you what you do. Now, when they ask you what you do, we've all heard about you need your 20-second elevator speech. That's what you give at that point. Perhaps I would say something like, I'm a realtor. I sell real estate, residential real estate in South Orange County. I absolutely love my job. I've been doing it for 10 years or 20 years or 2 years or whatever. Now that's the time for your elevator speech. Then at some point, instead of continuing to go on, and the last thing you want to do is a pushy agent. I always like assertive agents, but I don't like pushy agents. So you want to get in conversation, let them ask some questions. And the way you sometimes can get people to say more or engage more in a conversation that they might otherwise is to get a little bit of a pregnant pause. Just pause a little bit, make it very clear it's their time to speak, and guess what? They're almost always going to follow up with that very simple question about real estate. And usually they ask you, what's the market like right now? So just be prepared to talk a little bit about them. And then by the time the conversation ends that day, what I like to do, and there's kind of a do and a don't here. Whatever you do, don't hand them a business card. Especially if you're at a gym. Who takes a business card to the gym or to a wedding or to a party? Well, you might, but it's a little bit of a pushy agent, so here's what you want to do. I like the idea. It's easy to have your phone. In fact, a lot of people do have their phone at the gym. Just go up to them and say, hey, let me send you a digital business card. What's your phone number? I'll send you a digital business card right now. If you ever have any questions, feel free to call me. For any question you have in real estate, feel free. And I've really enjoyed the conversation. Now you send them that business card. I like Savvy as a digital business card. Then you've already got their contact information. Now you can do what you want with that client. If it becomes a transaction you need to work on, you can start doing it. Maybe you put them in your database. You start making notes on the conversation. But at that point, they are, and as far as I'm concerned, they're my client. They may or may not know it at that point, but I consider them at that point my client. So here's what you want to do. Just kind of a recap on this. First thing you want to do is you never want to be pushy. You do want to be assertive. You want to ask them what they do. You want to be interested in that. And then you want to give them your elevator speech for 20 seconds or less of what you do. And then after that, let it go where it needs to go. And at the end, you've probably got a client.